I was waiting to make this video about abortion for a while, um, and I just like kind of was putting it off. And now, because I live in New York State, there's this new law where women are now allowed to abort their babies up until the day before their due date. I just like had to make this video. So I think that all abortion is wrong. Like, if you're even like 5 days pregnant, which you don't even know if you're 5 days pregnant, but like any kind of abortion is wrong. And so I'm just going to explain in this video why abortion is murder. So let's just define murder. Murder is the killing of a human being. And now let's define those terms. Killing is the ending or cutting short of life. If you end or a life or cut a life short, if you cause that, you are killing. A human being is a type. So that's one part of murder is killing, but then the other part of it is killing a human being. So what is a human being? A human being is a type of species. And how do you know that it's a human being? By looking at its DNA. And a scientist could tell you, like, there's human DNA. If something has human DNA. Also, one more thing we're going to define here for defining what killing a human being is what is a living organism. A living organism is defined as an organism that it basically it has the will to survive. It can metabolize. It would have the ability to reproduce, and it would respirate or like have some sort of way of breathing. So those are like the components of killing a human being. From the moment of conception, the immediate product of conception has unique human DNA. And it has the will to survive. But that unique human DNA that is formed at the moment that conception occurs, that DNA has all of the mapping for all the traits that organism is going to carry throughout its life. So the eye color, the hair color, the skin tones, the genetics, all kinds of other things besides just the stuff that you see. It has all of that. And that unique DNA, that's not the mother's DNA. That's not the father's DNA. It is a new DNA that is created at the moment of conception. So that's human DNA, and it's unique. So it's a new life, really. So to cut that life short is to kill a human being. A lot of people think that it's not a life until a certain point. Well, here's the thing. A species is not defined by the stage of development that it's in. A child is a human being. A toddler is a human being. An old person is a human being. A teenager is a human being. While a fetus, a zygote, and a blastocyst are all, and a morula, or it's pronounced something like that. Morula, it's something like in the very beginning of pregnancy, an embryo, those are all human beings. Those are all stages of human being if we're talking about the human species of a fetus, because those terms are also used for animals in animals' gestation periods. But those are all terms for human beings, and they have, during all of those stages, that same DNA that was created at conception is what is allowing that life to continue to grow and to go through the stages that it does. So, again, a species is not defined by its stage of development. It's defined scientifically by the DNA type that it contains. So, stating that abortion isn't murder is just scientifically false. You're killing a newly created human life. From the moment of conception, a new life begins. Because of that new DNA is there. So I hope that if you are pro-choice, this will open your mind to reasons why, to just see a different perspective here. A lot of people will say, "Oh, like pro-life people, they'll be like, oh, killing a fetus, they want to call it killing a fetus, and don't want to call it a baby, but it's really just a baby." Well, here's the thing: like, science does call it a fetus from 9 weeks until 40 weeks. It's called a fetus, but that doesn't make it not a human. So when pro-choice people say, "Oh, it's just a fetus," and then pro-life people say, "Oh, well, it's actually a baby," well, saying either one, both of you guys are calling it a human being. A fetus is part of the human life. So calling it a baby is not true, but calling it a fetus doesn't make it not a human. So that's something that, we pro-lifers need to just accept. Like, hey, we can call it a fetus. But by the way, I just want to say that I actually am almost 39 weeks pregnant, and I've been going to the doctor's office since I was about like 5 weeks along, and the doctors, I don't go to like a special naturopathic thing or anything like that, a Christian doctor's office. I go to like a straight allopathic, like OBGYN, and I have never heard the term "your fetus." The only thing that they call it at that doctor's office is "your baby." And I don't hear them talking to other mothers like that. I go to a very, like, mainstream type of doctor's office that gives vaccines and, like, just does all the normal stuff. So anyway, just consider it, and I hope that I gave you something to think about that you didn't think of before.